the entire investment that you're making in an MBA degree is exclusively
Mhm.
reliant on the quality of the professors. So do you think they
That's not
justify?
no, I
Okay,
disagree. I disagree to
okay,
this.
okay,
I
okay.
disagree.
Let me give you a better insight into this. Okay, setting aside the placements, is there anything else that you're
Mhm.
getting out of your MBA degree apart from the professor's teachings? Is there anything
Peers,
you get?
Kripal, it's
You're
you're
paying
getting
24
your
lakhs to be with your peers. That's what you're telling me. That's how you're
yeah, yeah, and it makes sense.
Welcome to Gatsby's Gyan. You're watching the MBA series, which is an endeavor to cover prominent B schools across the country and help give aspirants a real picture of the college they seek admission. Stay tuned for more updates by subscribing to the channel. Hi Rishika, a very warm welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Kripal. Thank you for having me here. How are you?
I'm also trying to pull along these days. I read on your LinkedIn bio that you got inducted in Mckinsey and Company, but you're waiting for your induction. What's the entire
Yeah.
story like?
Yeah, that's right. So I interned with McKinsey in May last year, like the internship period, and I got the PPO.
Wow.
Right. Yes, I am waiting to join McKinsey. The joining is due in October. So
Mhm.
yeah, looking forward to it.
And how are you using these 3 to 4 months? Are you venturing somewhere else as well, starting up on something with what you have on mind?
Yeah. I did quite a lot of things. Yeah, in this 3 4 months, I think. So firstly, I traveled a lot. I went to a
Wow.
couple of places.
Wow.
Yeah, I use this time that well, and also I have been investing a lot in my hobbies.
Mhm.
Like I like to paint, I like to meditate, I like to read. So the library you see behind me, some of it is a product of these 6 months that I got at my B
And
school.
all
So
of the books are the ones that you've read already. You finished reading them, or they?
most of it,
Yet,
most of it, yeah,
wow,
most of
that's a feat.
it. Yeah, that is there. And apart from that, yeah, I was also preparing myself, like in the sense that I'll be joining a corporate world. Yeah, I do have a corporate work experience, but yeah, I wanted to get to know, read about more different industries that I may be working with, and in the current affairs in general and news around it. So yeah, a very productive 6 months for me personally.
That's the first time I'm hearing a corporate mention current affairs. Current affairs is the forte of all the UPSC aspirants and all the people who are preparing for competitive exams. So, do you think
Yeah.
all corporates also need a hand over all the current affairs in
Yeah,
detail?
definitely. I think it's very important in all sense, because for a business grad, like for B school grad, also to connect dots, to be relevant in the industry, you need to know a lot about the companies and the kind of projects they are doing, and the kind of plans they have, the strategic, their visions, the management currently in place, and how they are trying to make their next 5 year plan, and kind of acquisitions they are doing. So across the board, there's a lot of interesting things to know and learn, especially at this stage. And as a B school graduate, there are a lot of things that is expected from you once
Wow.
you join the industry. It's like it's a given that given you're a grad from a top B school, you should know a certain have a certain level of understanding of the industry already.
The
So
weight
I
of the IIM tag is very overwhelming. That's what you're trying to say. I get.
yeah, you can say that.
Makes sense,
Yeah.
makes sense. But you mentioned that you need to be well versed with everything that's happening in the market. What are the sources that a consultant would refer to? What are some specific sources that a consultant like you would refer to? Anything in specific, like?
Yeah. Yeah, so how the way I go about it is I start with a newspaper, very old traditional
Absolutely.
knowledge to give.
That's
Everybody
fair.
knows about this, but yeah, that is how I go about it. And say once I say I'm reading the newspaper for the day, right? And then
Yeah.
if there are certain topics, say for example, if there's a discussion happening on inflation, then if there are I just read the article, and then if I see there are certain terms or certain things I want to double click on, I spend some time on the internet to understand, so that I understand that particular article very
Yeah.
holistically. And this is one of the examples. Say another example could be there's some industry news around, say oil and gas, or some country specific news, that India's ties with the UK currently, so the trade
Mhm.
deal happening.
Yeah.
You just what I think the basic, very basic idea behind doing all of this is to have that inquisitive nature and have that curiosity. So once you read anything, you want to understand it in a greater depth than just that like whatever 500-word article. Apart from that, what else do you know about? And you can
Absolutely.
also go back to the internet and read various articles on it. So those are my first steps to do. Apart from that, if I want to say understand a company in specific, if there's some news around a company, I go about the annual report, or broker reports are also a very good source to understand a company,
Sorry again,
because
what
they
reports? What reports?
broker reports, broker
Broker
leading
reports.
broker,
Whoa.
yeah. So they offer you insights as well as like lot about their business in a very condensed fashion. And also you can read investor transcripts in which company comes ahead and discusses their plans and their strategies to the general public. These are about the listed companies. For the unlisted companies, yeah, you have to rely on the information they provide, and that is through news and industry reports. And so there are multiple sources. It's upon a person to actually just Google. Honestly, there's a lot of
Precisely,
information
precisely.
available. And also, I think another very good source that I find is YouTube. Yeah, honestly, if you use YouTube well, it has hell lot of podcasts or say channels by these leading people, and the kind of information that they are able to create, the audience they are creating, it's amazing, and the content out there is phenomenal. So just use internet well, and it has a lot for you.
Lucky are those YouTubers, they're going to get information from you now. It's a chain, it's a cycle that's going to pass on. That's cool to know, but that's quite a comprehensive list that you mentioned, and the broker report. That is what fascinated me the most. That is something that all of us need to
Hmm,
add to our list. But setting aside, however
hmm.
you use those 4 months, let's talk about you in specific. Let's talk about your life,
Okay.
Rishika, all the way from your undergrad. How were you so
Yeah.
sure about becoming a corporate? How was this thing, this
I
spark
never
laid out?
was, yeah, Kripa. So honestly, I have taken life the way it comes. I never had a plan as such, like joining undergrad. I did my undergraduation from St. Xavier's College in
Yeah,
Kolkata,
yeah,
and in the first year, I simultaneously did my CFA as well. So in the first year, when I joined as a BCom honors student, I had no idea what I wanted to do with the 3 years of my life.
yeah, yeah.
Just that I was very sure that I wanted to do something. Like I had that energy to invest my time and efforts into things that is relevant and good
Meaningful.
for me. So
Yeah.
yeah, meaningful for me, that will add value to me. So what happened was, I tell you how my CFA journey started. So so there are 3-4 courses. So this is the thing in Xavier's. Okay, when you join Xavier's the first day, when you enter the class, the discussion is around whether you'll do CA, CFA, or actuaries. So you are just
Whoa.
divided into three buckets.
Whoa.
Now that's how the culture of Xavier's is. So I went there, and okay, I saw कि okay अच्छा ऐसे करते हैं बच्चे यहाँ के. And then I was reading about CA and CFA and all of them. And CA is something I was not very interested in. My brother is a CA, so I was like वो तो नहीं करना है, कुछ नया. So
Yeah.
then actuaries also did not interest me quite a lot. CFA is something that intrigued me. Now there was this institute that provided coaching for CFA.
Yeah.
So there was this, and I got to know there was this mock session that they are providing on this particular day, and I can attend it. So, and I clearly remember I went to attend that class, and it was a fixed income class. Fixed income, if you know about it, and for the audience, it is closely related to bonds and derivatives,
Yeah.
bonds and not so, debentures. So
Exactly.
in the first class we were taught the time value of money, and we started using the financial calculator. They gave us a calculator, and we were like asked to use that and instructed how to use it. And that class, I just loved it so much. I went with two of my other friends for that class. Other two did not, and I was like crazy when I came back to my PG. I was like, wow, this was an amazing thing to learn, and I genuinely like to go ahead with it. And that's how it started. I never thought about it before my graduation, or even knew about it. Okay. and that's how it started, and I'm happy that I continued on the journey and cleared it. And that was entirely about my UG. Again, for cat prep, I was not sure, and circumstances happened such that again, that's the cat story is a different story altogether.
Yeah.
It was again unplanned, and I went ahead with it, and then JP Morgan happened. JP Morgan actually gave me a quite a push in the sense that the kind of people I met there, uh, amazingly talented people, had very very good background, very good undergrad, and then all of them were like, many of them were actually preparing for CAT and GMAT, and that gave me that additional push to pursue it. And also, and it was only in JPM that I got to know about McKinsey. So
Oh.
again, what happened was, back in JPM, I got to know about, say, these entire consulting is an industry, and there was this one book that I bought. It's called The McKinsey Way. And
Uh-huh.
back then, I back then I had no idea about consulting, and even when I joined this B school, IIM Lucknow, I was not sure if I actually want to do consulting or finance, given my background, BCom
Mm-hmm.
honor, specialization in accounting and
CFA.
finance, and then CFA, and
Uh,
then JP Morgan IB. I also had like a finance as an option for me, but somehow I know subconsciously or somehow it happened that I landed in McKinsey, and now I look back and like 3 saal pehle I bought that book that called My McKinsey. And while working at JP, I used to read that book. It was really fascinating for me. It's just how stars align. Eventually, you don't
things come
even
around
really know.
circle all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You only so I believe that you only connect the dot backwards. Yeah, you just don't. At this point, for example, I don't know where my next industry will be, which sector I'll be working with, which team I'll start off with. But right now, after all that I've experienced in my life, I'm more sure of कि ठीक है जो भी होगा सही होगा, because so far, if so far हो रहा है तो और भी अच्छे ही होंगे. So
Wow.
have that mindset.
It's really interesting that you mentioned a couple of interaction points. First was that finance class. I'm not sure if it was Ashwini Bajaj. Was it Ashwini Bajaj's class? Was it Ashwini Bajaj's class
No,
back in
no, it was
university?
not Ashwini Bajaj.
That man's a bloody
I,
brand
I
for
am
CFA.
Sanjay. I am Sanjay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I am Club Sanjay. No.
Acha, acha, acha. You mentioned that both of these events were really, transformational in nature, which allowed you to capture whatever insights into whatever field you wanted to be a part of. But another substantial part that emerges out of this
Yeah.
is the environment that played the role. At JP Morgan, you had all the people preparing for CAT. At Xavier's, you had all the people preparing for CFA and CA. So, this also helps
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
to
yeah.
all the people out there. The right
Definitely,
one.
definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the kind of people you have around, and your environment has a huge impact on you. And this is what I always say even to my friends, that it's the people that matter at the end of the day and nothing else. It's how you surround, who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
That's all that matters to me, at least. I don't care about the circumstances, and I'm very picky around people.
Wow.
If see,
You're a
if the
consultant
vibes
after all.
don't
That's
match.
expected. Yeah. So Rishika, you mentioned that Mackenzie was a matter of chance when you got into Mackenzie right out of IIM Lucknow. There was another difficult decision that you had to take a year prior to that. If you had to take which college you had to take up. So what went into that decision? What were the factors that played spoil sport? And how did you arrive at IIM Lucknow?
Yeah. So honestly, when I sat for CAT, I didn't have any particular preference as to this is the college I this is the only college I want to get into. I kept my mind quite open across, and I just sat for the CAT to just excel on it and then see how it goes. Like I told you, this is how I generally do across in my life. I just do the next step and wait for the results. So I am Lucknow happened, so I got a call from Indore, Kozhikode, and all the other IIMs, and of course, I am Lucknow. And given the list of shortlist, I am Lucknow was the best call for me. So that was there. And for anyone choosing a B school, I think that really doesn't matter a lot in the long term. I would say if it's like set a benchmark for you, like you might not want to go below this particular level of B school, and then just go ahead with whatever you get at best at your disposal. Don't get stuck to, going to XYZ college at any particular point in life, because there is more to it. And also, what I felt like, I have friends across both, like all the three, ABC and then Kozhikode as well, and Indore as well. So I'm in constantly touch with them. And what I realize is there's not a lot of difference that is there across B school. Yeah, the opportunities that you're offered may differ. Of course, there will be different circumstances. The professors will be different. The peer group will be different. But that is not the important part. So it's, my senior used to say that the validity of your B school tag, like whatever it is, it's just 2 years. It's just for you to enter the industry. Once you're in it, it's all about your work and about how you are conducting yourself. So after 2 years, mostly nobody is going to care if I graduate from Lucknow or Kozhikode or Indore. It's about how much I've worked in Mckinsey, for example, is my cases.
Wow, wow.
So just that is one important aspect. And what I've realized, meeting friends across, is that every B school has their own sets of challenges and also sets of benefits that they offer. It's upon you as a person to identify what fits well with you,
Hmm.
and not get hung up on certain criteria set up by the internet, like the placements or the professors or the maturity of the university, like it was founded in 1994 or whatever is the date. That really doesn't matter. What you should have a very set predetermined goal in your head, like these are the 3-4 things I want to achieve out of my B school. And if that particular B school fits well with your goals, then just go ahead with it. Don't get hung up on, say, this is the college I want to do it with. Yeah, of course, that can be a personal preference if that is your goal. But for the majority of them, I've seen, like, why I'm saying this, I've seen people wasting 3-4 years to crack a
Get
particular
into a
B school.
particular
And
piece.
yeah, and then eventually, very good if they have. If there are many who could not as well, and that is, waste. And then in hindsight, they feel that they have wasted a lot of time. So that doesn't really matter in the long term. So just go ahead with
Makes
it.
sense. Makes sense. So taking the first step and then navigating through the path later, having not having a plan but going with the flow. That's what you're trying to emphasize on. But
Yeah,
talking of your CAT
yeah.
preparation, is there something
Mm-hmm.
idiosyncratic? Is there something unique to your preparation? Something that you did, that not all the people do. Something unique with your preparation strategy.
I only know about my preparation. How will I know if
I
somebody
mean,
does it
there are these
or
norms,
not?
right? ARC के लिए ये करो, font के लिए ये करो. There are these norms, right?
See, I can tell you what I did. I don't know if it is out of
Unique or
this
not.
thing, and it was, yeah. I'm not aware of that. But yeah, across, I think one thing that really matters is consistency. It's not that you can uh, go around and you can prepare in just 1 month. It's like, if you say want to spend 200 or 300 hours in preparation of CAT, it's not that you can do it. You can spread it across and do it in a smaller span. I would say try to spread it across, make it a consistent habit. You can start with giving mock weekly, and then bi-weekly, and then of course like every alternate days, and eventually every day. uh, Plan your schedule accordingly. And other thing could be, see, I this is one advice that I got from my seniors as well, that identify your strengths, try to understand what you're really good at, and hone your skills to work around those. Like, if you clearly know these are my strengths and these are my weakness, it is very easy for you to pick questions. For example, in LRDI, I got a 99.39 percentile, and the strategy that helped me there was, I very well knew which type of LRDR questions worked for me. And for me, LR was more, it came more intuitive to me versus DI. So now in LR, I knew these arrangement questions work. If given an arrangement question, I can do it very, very quickly. So that saves a lot of time. So when I got my CAT paper, all I was looking was searching for these arrangement questions, and
Yeah.
thankfully I got one. So I
Yeah.
very quickly solved that question.
Instant.
I didn't have to spend a lot of time, yeah, searching through, like solving,
All
not
the
being
sets
sure
and
of the
spending 1 minute
question.
each.
Yeah,
Yeah.
question, exactly. I didn't have to do that. Apart from that, I also knew कि Venn diagram वाला कोई question आएगा तो I will skip it, because वो मुझे नहीं आता है. I am not very comfortable doing it. I'll just rather skip it.
Mm.
even if say it is easy, I am fine like taking that leap, because there are other areas which I'm very good at. So have substantial strength points created for you and have that identified, and that can happen only through giving mocks and analyzing your mocks well. So take multiple mocks, and also like this is one mistake that I did. When you give a mock and the percentile that pops in after your mock,
Well, it,
just take it with a pinch of salt.
exactly.
Yeah, it is not absolute. It depends upon a host of things. What matters, your takeaway from a particular mock. If you're spending 2 hours, like giving the mock, and then 1.5 hours, 2 hours analyzing it, the output of this entire 4-5 hours should be to identify what works with you and what does not work with you. If it is not working with you, and you can spend some time and improve it, then give it your time. If you think that it is something that you can't do, you're not able to cover or master this particular thing, just let it go. There
Hmm.
are other areas which can be your
Like,
priority.
fortify your strengths.
So do it, yeah, identify your strengths and work on your strength instead of drooling over your weaknesses.
Makes
That
sense.
is
Makes sense. That's a very well summarized strategy, working on your strengths, ignoring your weaknesses, and having the strategy in your mind that, okay, these are the questions that I'll be approaching in my exam. That makes sense. And after you got
yeah.
into IIM Lucknow, one of the most prominent institutions of the country, what were your initial impressions like? Like, okay, is it worth all the hype? Is it worth all the hard work? Or were you a little disappointed? Okay, yaar, maza nahi aa How, yeah,
Okay, this is a difficult question to answer. Yeah, Agarwal. It's gonna ask me a really tough question. So honestly, see, of course, let me put it this way: when you're into the drill, no, when you just join, everything becomes very very challenging for you. You feel ki kahan aa gaye? Why am I even doing this? And all of this happens.
exactly. Why am I even doing this? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it just happens that way, and it is not unique to any particular person. And after the conversations I've had across, it's like everybody experiences this. But in hindsight, if you talk to people like me who have already graduated or 1 or 2 years into the industry, they really look at all the values they were able to derive out of their B school, because it is then they are able to look at it from a perspective which is not inside, like outside
hindsight.
perspective,
In
how
hindsight.
their life has, in hindsight, yeah, how their life has evolved because of these 2 years at B school. So yeah, of course, answering your question, when I joined, I had a huge culture shock.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that happens at institutions.
I had a huge culture shock. I was super annoyed with the college. I was like,
Yes.
"Kyun kya maine?" I was having a very good job at JPM. I
Yeah.
would have progressed my career there. Why did I even put in the efforts to reach this far and
Wow.
land up here?
Wow.
But but what happens? Again, first term in any B school is again very challenging, because the placements are going on, the people are new. And for me, it happened online. The first term for my B
Yeah.
school happened online, everything.
COVID thing, yeah.
So again, yeah, because of COVID. So what happened, I used to sit all day at my room, and then just leave for food, and I used to shout, "Mama, khana de do," and then she used to run and grab. I just run and grab my food, and then walk back in my room. So that was another challenge, not having that personal connect, was relying on Zoom and Gmeet to meet people, schedule calls, even talking to a senior professor required blocking calendars. So all of the technical challenges were there. But apart from that, also I was personally expecting a lot from a B school,
Hmm.
about I was expecting a lot of intellectual conversations and lot of yeah, there was misalignment that way. And then when I reached there, I was like, "यहाँ तो replacement की बात हो रही है. Why are you
Oh,
not looking at
the
it?"
thing that they're obsessed with is a job, is a consulting job. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that is there. So eventually, but then what happens is eventually you find your group, you find the people you vibe with, you find the people with whom your goals align, your thoughts align, and then it's different. And then your actual B
Then
school
things start
journey
making
starts
sense.
actually.
With the onset of time, you get that level of comfort, and then things start making sense. That's what you're
Yeah,
trying to
that
imply.
yeah.
So
Exactly.
you mentioned that IIM Lucknow was not able to bridge the gap between your expectations and the reality. But if there's one thing that I want to ask you is, what is IIM Lucknow known specifically for? Like IIMC is known for finance. What's IIM Lucknow known for? Like
Mhm.
what's it known for across in the industry?
I am Lucknow is known for its rigor, yeah. Are you not aware?
Oh, that's it.
It's called hell.
I was aware that Ahmedabad is known for its rigor. Even Lucknow is known for its rigor. Oh,
Yeah, that's it's actually termed as hell, but for me it was not a hell. I wouldn't ever term it as hell. It was a very very good experience for me. But specifically, yeah, it is one of the campuses hugely in my experience. Okay, I don't know what the term around is, but it's heavy on consulting. Yeah, like good percentage of batch gets placed in consulting, and uh, I wouldn't say it's a fin or a marketing or an ops specialization as such, because I couldn't identify that basis my experience. But see, what I understand is every B school offers, at least like the top B school offers everything that you want. So like if you want to excel in fin, it has multiple avenues for that
avenues.
across like fin or say consulting or say strategy or marketing, whatever, right? There is enough and more material available. The profs are good, they're approachable. You can just go to them, talk, set up some time with them and just go to their office and talk about things. You can talk about your life, about your journey. It's very open ended that way. I have had some very very good profs to learn from, and have conversation with them. Changed me as like, not, I wouldn't say changed, evolved
Influence.
me as a person, to
Yeah.
be a better term. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, helped me develop and identify areas about my life, about my personality. So what I would say, and even say if Calcutta is called a Fin campus, it is more around how they have like a Bloomberg lab, or say the companies that come in for placements, or those are two three parameters why it is actually branded as a Fin campus. What I feel in my experience is any campus can be a Fin campus if you are a Fin person. It's just on you.
Wow.
It's that doesn't matter. You have, so every campus offers enough resources for a person to develop and hone their skills around areas that they want to.
Wow.
And and again, it's again, this is one part. Another part is your experience should not be limited to just your campus. So what I've realized is, as a B school grad, you get a lot of opportunity to have industry connect. So there'll always be alums in your alums or seniors, or even uh, highly experienced individuals. And the best part about being a student is they're extremely reachable. So I myself has connected have connected with a lot of such people, and they were so kind. They tend to give time. And there's this one person from Jeffries, I'd love to name him as well. He's Akshat Agarwal. I've had so many conversations. He's 10 years into the industry, equity research space, and I've had good conversation with him, and he's guided me across, so just what matters is you reaching out to people, you finding, you making that effort, know things about, spending time in the topic that you want to, and everything works out eventually. And you have ample of time to work on your, I've seen my friends, many of them clearing CFA levels after they joined B school. Like one of my batchmate, he cleared, I think, two levels or all three levels
Oh.
while doing his MBA.
Oh.
And so that's phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, there people complain
Clearing
that
three levels is not normal during an MBA, though.
exactly, people complain that they don't have enough time. There are assignments, there are projects, but if you have to do it, if you have your mindset to it, everything is
You'll
possible.
find
You
a way.
can,
Hmm.
you find it. So yeah, I mean, like, bottom
That's how
line
it
is,
is.
it's all depends on you. Every campus it can be a strategy campus for you. It can be Fin. It can be an ops campus for you if you decide, whatever you want.
That's a fascinating way to look at all the leading B schools. I mean, that's not something that we get to hear when you talk of the lower graded B schools, right? If we talk of the top five or maybe even top 10 institutions, that might hold true. But once we go down the ladder, things are otherwise.
Mhm.
The opportunities are bleak.
No, no. So I am not sure about the placement aspect of things because
You're specifying the learning part, emphasizing on the learning part.
I'm emphasizing on the learning part, and what I feel and genuinely believe in is that if you are good at what you do, okay, people or companies are going to be after you for to have them in your company, because everybody wants good, educated, talented people to join their company. That is how the company goes ahead. So, and in fact, I think this discussion I was having with one of my batchmate yesterday only. So there was this one particular person, and he was not having a very great profile, like the term 999 profile that
Yeah.
we generally use. He was not one of those, but I remember he was very interested in trading and in finance in general. And I was a part of a club called Credence Capital, and we used to. It's the oldest student and investment fund. So we were
Mhm.
8 of us. Now, this particular person I'm talking about, he used to constantly reach out to me to understand the trading aspect of
Concepts.
it,
Yeah.
and yeah, and discuss things with me. He was very knowledgeable in his own, because he used to read a lot,
Mhm.
and like just general trade, and in general he was a very good human being to have an interaction with, which is why I had multiple discussions. And I recently got to know, even if he didn't land a very good job from our B school, he switched within like 2-3 months, and he got a role in a very good IB firm.
Oh.
So if you genuine so again, if you look at it that way, he was not having the profile that is required, right? But because of his knowledge, because of his persistence, and actual interest in that topic, he was able to land the job he much wanted. So it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is true for all the all the B schools, like in general. I can at least talk about top 20 B school when I'm saying this.
You can always outlive your tag. That's the learning from that
Yeah,
example.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
person landed that role off campus. He landed that role off campus, the IB role.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That is something to learn from. And you were mentioning about the bifurcation of all the placements that happen at your institution. After consulting, you told that consulting takes a major chunk of the students. After consulting, what are the other domains that
Mhm.
the students get placed into? Like, can you give a breakdown of all the,
Yeah,
yeah,
see, there are for that, I think you have the placement reports, and
brochure?
yeah, that you can refer to. I wouldn't want to spend a lot of time there, because that is not where my emphasis lies. Placement is just one aspect of life, and I don't want to spend this quality time talking about those numbers and second, third. These are all available in the internet. Just surf it and you'll get the
Yeah, yeah.
information.
Makes sense, makes sense. But after consulting, we get marketing students, finance students, and Genman students. That's a statement that I can make about
Yeah,
IIM-L.
yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
so you mentioned that it was a matter of chance that you got into Mckinsey. So you mentioned, okay, you got into your first term and then luckily you got into Mckinsey. Were there other things in your mind that you wanted to get into financial firms, or how did it all play out?
Yeah, I definitely wanted. Yeah, so at in term one, I was thoroughly confused. What do I even want to do? Whether fin or consulting. I had this bias कि मैंने इतना time, invest कर रखा है fin में, and at this point, do I even want to switch to a different industry altogether? And how much does that impact me? And all the questions around it. So the way I navigated is I spoke to a lot of people. I think term one for me was all about interacting with people and getting to understand what different roles and with offers across both fin and consulting, and across consulting also I spoke to people from both MBBs and K as well. So that gave me some idea around what each role and offers, and also about the people working in it, about their lifestyle, about how they're navigating through things. And yeah, so it was not an easy call for me. Uh, till the very last, I was confused if I want to say. I was actually very interested in the markets role as well. city market or in JPM market. These are the two markets role that come to campus, and I was interested in both the roles, and of course, consulting was also going on. But gradually, as I went ahead with the process, I did not quit. I was like I was involved in both the processes simultaneously. I had the shortlist, thankfully. So I was handling both consulting and fin at the same time in term one, which again made my life very very difficult because there's a lot of commitment across. Uh, but eventually, what I realized is I ended up pivoting towards consulting because it just seemed that it fit with my goals and my preferences at that point. And then did the internship as well with McKinsey, and I was very happy with the project and with the team, and really enjoyed my 2 months there. So yeah, it worked out well. Hopefully, I'll get to know more only once I join.
The
So
summer internship experience, did you get to use your financial insights over there? Your experience in the finance industry, did it help you?
so my project was not directly in the finance space. It was for an agricultural chemical client. So no, it was I was thrown in the deep end of the pool, and it was more towards the sales and marketing side of things. तो no, I don't really think कि मेरा finance का background or knowledge helped me in my internship, but it was exciting for me because what I experienced during my JPM days was I really like to try new things, and I like the challenges that things offer. If things get monotonous, like if things start repeating in my life, I tend to hate it. This is what happened in my previous job in JPM as well. I had identified that certain parts of my job that got repeated day on, like I
What
had to do
monotonous?
certain set of things that, yeah, it just became too monotonous for me to handle. So in that sense, and as a person, I'm very curious, and love to know new things and not just stick to one area. Like I'd rather know things very broadly. So in that sense, the internship and the company fit well with my personality and my goals. So
Pardon me for intruding a little further, but you mentioned that you have this curiosity of getting to know about a broad list of things. But that broad list of things is something that you know superficially. On the other hand, if you had worked in finance, you would have had an in-depth knowledge about stuff and you know something specifically. How do you navigate through that dilemma?
yeah, I'll tell you. So I'll tell you. Somebody told me this. I don't remember if it was a prof or an alum. It was about having a T-shaped personality. So what a T-shaped personality is, you know a little about a lot of things, and you know in depth about one particular thing. So that's how you create a T-shape.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, so I think my T shape, my the vertical part of it is in finance. I would
Mhm.
like to know more about, but then of course I would like to know a little about operations, or say marketing, about advertising. I don't know. It's like a whole broad range, and I would love to know a little about a lot of things.
The toppings are of operations, consulting, and other domains. The crust is of what do you call finance. That's what you're trying to imply.
Yeah, yeah. For me, not, I wouldn't say that as a blanket term.
Most of
I
the
would say,
consultants.
yeah, for me as a person, for me, finance would be always core to my personality and about how I see things. It's all about numbers and about
Insights.
ratios for me, yeah, about P's and ratios for me.
Yeah.
But knowing a little about a lot of things, it just gives me more confidence. Like I love to have conversation. I might just love having a conversation with a kid and a 70-year-old guy. I would just
Uh,
love to talk across the spectrum. So for that, I need to have knowledge across, right? I would love to talk about cooking and at the same time about managing a business. Both of them interest me. So
Consulting makes you adept at getting knowledge across stuff. That's
exactly,
what I'm trying to say. But
yeah.
Rishika, if there's another thing that bothers a lot of people out there is that consulting firms are very restrictive in nature. Like you mentioned, there's this cream of the batch which gets a 999 on their CVs, and then they're the only ones who get inducted into the company. Is there any way a person with a poor academic background will ever make it into a
Mhm.
consulting firm? Is there any way he can ever do that?
I am sorry. I'm not sure I'm in a position to answer this. I have reviewed a lot of CVs and seen a lot of people, but then my experience is very limited being on this side of the table. Uh, I might be in a condition to, validate my answer or have more numbers around answering my question once I am on the recruiting side, which I'm not currently.
Makes
So
sense.
I might want to skip this question. But what I understand is, if you are exceptional at something, just say I had this particular person in my college. He was very good in sports. Okay, he was a national level swimmer, or like the multiple CV points in
Yeah.
his. Not, I shouldn't say point, but in general, as a person, he had invested a lot of time in sports and he was very good at it. And he did get a shortlist. I'm not sure about his academic profile though.
Yeah.
He may be having a decent profile. It was not poor, that I'm sure about, but not as much as you'd expect, because he, of course, invested a lot of time in sports, which is fine. Uh, Point being, you have to have a
Justify
spike.
your weaknesses. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You have to have
Also
a
have a
spike,
spike.
is what they say. Is you should be exceptionally good at something in your life, and then it makes sense for a consulting firm to hire, is what I know. Okay, this is very high level and very outside in perspective. I might know about it 2 years into it once I am in the recruiting side.
Yeah, once you're on the other side of the grass, it makes sense. And talking of your lectures, specifically at IIM-L, do you mind shedding a little more light on the way you interacted with the professors? Like, what's a typical lecture like? How's the cohort decided? How do you go about organizing stuff?
So lectures, I'll tell you how it's structured. I think it's across, but at least for AML, the first year you have the mandatory subjects. All everything is predetermined for you. In the second year, you have your electives, where you identify your specialization, you choose your subjects, you choose your prof, and second year is the year you're more in control with about your life, about your time at B school, about how you want to go around it. Okay, now interacting with profs, yes, there are many profs right in campus, and some of them will be teaching you some of the courses, and few of them you'll find really intriguing, or in the sense that you feel like you just want to approach them and learn more. It does not happen with all the prof, honestly. At least it does not happen for me. Now, when you identify such profs, say two three profs you really align with or you resonate with, for example, you can always just go ahead and drop them a mail, or just after the class just walk around and tell ki, these are the things, say, I want to discuss with you about. I've been reading about this particular topic. Do you know more about it? Do you have any industry experience? Is there any company or currently or previously worked with that that you can share more insights about? Or for example, this is particular thing that is bothering me. I am working on this part, and can you guide me more about it? So it's, and more often than not, the professors are very kind, and they tend to give you the time and space to, if they call you in their office, and then they give you the time and explain the entire thing to you. So about it's very natural, yeah. You just feel कि ये particular prof कुछ ऐसा पढ़ा रहा है जो तुम्हें बहुत पसंद आ रहा है, then just go ahead and talk to that particular person,
That's
know
awesome.
more about them, share about yourself. So it's very very natural. There's no rocket science around it. And I think, and there are certain people who sometimes have an agenda कि ये particular prof से मैं इसलिए मिलूंगा, so that, for example, I might get good grades, or they have very good connects. So usliye that could be one reasons, but one of the reason. But I think find people. This is my general life philosophy. I find people you resonate with, and spend time with them and invest in them, and I think they will become your
Yeah, learn
assets.
from them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rishika, the only reason I'm trying to ask about the professors specifically is the fact that the entire investment that you're making in an MBA degree is exclusively
Mhm.
reliant on the quality of the professors. So, do you think they
That's not
justify?
true. No, I
Okay.
disagree. I disagree to
Okay,
this.
okay,
I
okay.
disagree. I mean,
Let me give you a better insight into this. Okay, setting aside the placements, is there anything else that you're
mhm.
getting out of your MBA degree apart from the professor's teachings? Is there anything
Peers,
you get?
Kripa, it's
You're
you're
paying
getting
24
your
lakhs to be with your
peers.
peers. That's what you're telling me. That's how you
Yeah, yeah, and it makes sense. It makes sense, Kripal, and I am not even kidding when I'm saying this. It just makes sense. I have met this amazing set of people in my 2 years, and see. And what I feel is these are my stocks that I'm investing in, and I know they are going to give good returns because
Oh,
then they are going to grow. I am their stock and they are my stock, honestly. Like there's just not people, there are companies that I'm investing in right now. Basis this is how I see it, no?
yeah.
Like, like keeping it aside, pure learning is generally a very, very important aspect of your B school life. Your professors, your curriculum, everything at a certain point takes a step back, and it's about your peers, that at least for me and in general, yeah, I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and this is a common view that I've had, that it is the peers that have added a lot of value. And because what happens is you learn from them, okay? You exams ke pehle, it's you spend. So if I have a friend who is very good in ops, he has a specialization, pehle he's an undergrad, like an engineer for example, and मुझे quam नहीं आता but मुझे fin आता है, उसे quam आता है, तो वो I we would help each other, no?
Yeah.
And in between that conversation, there are a lot of other things that we learn apart from what is just a part of the curriculum. So and B school, everything is done by students, from placements to managing the mess to the president of the college.
The
Everything,
placement cell.
yeah, everything is done by students.
Placement cell, yeah.
So it's all about people. I think pure learning is one. I would pay again. I would again pay 20 lakhs to be around such
Wow.
highly
Wow.
educated. Because it's very difficult to find that connection in any other area. Because if, for example, in undergrad you don't get sort of
That
personal
exposure.
link with that exposure, you don't get. And as you grow in the industry, everybody else is also gonna grow with you, and that is how your network expands, right?
Mm. So 25 lakhs is precisely the price you pay to be the part of an exclusive club. That's what you're trying to, the kind of clubs that they had back in 1990s. Okay, this is an exclusive trading club.
Yeah, you can say that.
But yeah, if we talk of an average Indian, if you go and tell this to an average household that, okay, Auntie ji, get your son into IIM Calcutta, spend 25 lakhs. But you know why? Because you'll find peer-to-peer learning over there. It doesn't sort of appeal to them, right? Contrary to an
Yeah.
engineering institution, if you talk
I
about,
don't think I myself joined a B school for that,
yeah,
but that happens very organically, and then you realize only in hindsight.
okay, this is the reason why we are paying all of this money
Hmm,
to be
hmm,
together with the sharpest of minds. That makes sense.
yeah.
That makes sense when you once you look back at your course, that makes sense.
Right. I of course I did not join कि मुझे बहुत अच्छे लोग मिलेंगे तो मैं I should do an MBA. That was not
But
how
one sec, one
the
sec, one sec, one sec. You were mentioning the part where you were not able to find enough intellectual conversations earlier. So how did you manage to drift through that gap?
that is what I'm telling you. No, so that is what I'm telling you. So eventually you find your
You'll find your
again
level.
in the beginning I was not able to find that group, no, and that is why the disappointment. But
Yeah,
once I had my group ready, once I had no people I knew well
fall
ki
back
हाँ
on.
ठीक है,
Yeah.
हाँ, then eventually, so this happens in due course. It's not ki the day you join you find your people and then everything is good and rosy.
Laid
That
out.
doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense, makes sense. And coming back to the curriculum part, so the classes are spanned out all throughout the week, or is it 4 days a week or 5 days a week? How is it?
It's every time, yeah. It was at one
Oh,
point very annoying. Even on Sundays, I there were a couple of profs जो Sunday 8:45 lecture रख देते थे, and it was so difficult to even open your eyes and just imagining attending those lectures. And then Lucknow में इतनी ठंड होती थी यार, term 5 में तो पीक दिसंबर नवंबर दिसंबर की ठंड और इतनी सुबह सुबह classes, and then not only सुबह सुबह, there were lectures at 9:30 also which ended at 11.
wow.
And
Wow.
so that was, and there are screenshots of schedules where your lecture starts at 8:45 and you have half an hour to 1 hour का gap in between, and then वो पूरे दिन चल रहा है. You have like 5 to 6 lecture डेढ़ घंटे के, and those are also some of the days. तो बहुत चैलेंजिंग था यार. लुकिंग बैक मुझे लगता है हमने
How did you
करा
get
है.
through?
I know everybody gets through. It's not a big deal. Like you manage, you navigate it. But वही मुझे लगता है I'm so happy that it's done. The phase is now over. I will never get back to that phase. But
Now
of
the
course,
tag
there's
of
the
rigor
another
is
challenge.
making sense. I didn't know all of this, man. कि Sunday को भी classes होते हैं. Like you
Sunday
must
को
have
भी
heard of
class.
IIM Bangalore, where apparently I've been told
Hmm.
this by a person that it's only 4 days
Yeah,
of. Oh,
yeah.
that's a very
That is
stark
there.
difference.
That is there. But yeah, Lucknow में it's very stark that way because there are some adjunct faculty also who visits campus. वो खाली Saturday Sunday आ पाते हैं या
Hmm.
particular days of the week आ पाते हैं तो उनके सारे classes staggered एक ही दिन में stack कर देते हैं वो things around scheduling. But in general there are lot of lectures. हमें वही लगता है कि इतने lectures ये करते क्यों हैं? And
Exactly.
yeah,
This really
it
helps.
gets challenging, right? Yeah.
And you know the
But
biggest
ठीक है.
part. Yeah, please, please. So the
नहीं नहीं,
biggest
I'm
problem.
just saying ठीक है चल.
Yeah, so the biggest problem with pedagogy is you never get to realize the actual impact of it. If the student is really absorbing
Hmm.
whatever is being told in a lecture,
Hmm.
if it's even meaningful enough,
Hmm.
so that's a problem. But
Hmm.
talking of pedagogy at IIM-L specifically, if you compare and contrast it with the rest of the colleges that are in India, do you think it stands on a
Hmm.
certain pedestal? It stands at the apex. Ki, oh, this is something that you don't get to learn at the rest of the places.
Yeah, I would be able to answer this if I studied in any of the other B schools. No, I studied in only one B school. So how would I know?
You have
There's
a
no
very
basis.
straight way of thinking about things. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Like how can I compare when I have not been a part of it, right?
At
I
least the
so
rumors help. At least the rumors help. Okay, I am
no,
A's
so
professor
I
shitty.
don't
I am
believe in
A's.
those.
Yeah.
No. So the way I look at it is everything. So there's a quote that says, "No two people have read the same book." Everything that happens with you, you take with your sense. Your sense
Experiences
organs.
are subjective in nature. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, if I rely on the experience of any other person and then compare it with mine, that may or may not hold true. These are apples and oranges. I can't really compare them.
Oh.
So how would I comment on it? Tell me.
But still, a comparison is something. If you were asked, okay, this is a car called any car, random car, Brezza, and you have a Mercedes Benz, you'll have something to compare them on, right? Like
No,
that's
so
the picture I'm trying to draw.
those are technical things. See, those are technical things. उसमें you compare around कि उसकी design कैसी है, उसकी engine
Now a
कैसी है.
consultant is talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these are subjective experiences, okay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can't really compare. And when you talk to your friends, and of course the other aspect is when you talk to your friends across, they're generally always ranting. Okay, I am also ranting about my college, they're also ranting about my college. So if I build a perspective basis that, it will always be a biased
Exactly.
perspective
Yeah.
because I'm not having this one-on-one conversation जिसमें मैं पूछ रही हूँ तुम्हारा B school कैसा जा रहा है. It's
Mhm.
not, I don't want to understand the B school. I want to understand, like, have the conversation with the friend. उसका
Exactly.
time कैसा जा रहा है,
Yeah.
right? Yes, there are some areas that I can maybe comment on, but I would rather not because everything
Given the
around is what I understand is very
yeah.
subjective and
Makes sense.
yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So talking about extracurriculars now, you were a part of Credence Capital, a financial society, if I'm not mistaken. Apart from that, how is the scene with extracurriculars at IIM Lucknow? Is it good enough?
Yeah, it was good. So, IIM Lucknow has this very unique thing when they offer student-run ventures. So there are multiple ventures, including F&B venture or uh, a beauty salon, and there's something called Click and Pick, जो essentials deliver करते हैं, all of that.
The
Now,
salon runs in the campus itself.
it runs in the campus itself and it is run completely by students. Like I was a part of an F&B venture called GNB, and what happens is you bid for that venture, you get that venture for a duration of 8 to 9 months, and then you run it end to end. You have your own employees, you manage the operations, you take away the profits or losses as well. So essentially, you are running a business while doing your MBA. So that is one very unique thing. I don't think it is anywhere
Part of
apart from
any
IIM.
place. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not a part of any other B school.
So you
So
get to bid. I mean, can you shed a little more light on that process?
yeah, I'll tell you. So what happens is you have to create. For example, I'm talking about GNB here. Every venture has a different set of like different requirements entire number of members that are there and the amount of investment. I'm talking about here about GNB, which is a food and beverage venture. It was made of a team of eight or nine members. Now, what happens is, as a group, you decide on the amount to bid on the venture. You value the venture basis the cash flow and the expenses and the eventual bottom line. You value the business and then you place a bid. It's a dark bid. For example, we together placed a bid of 11.6 lakhs for the venture. Now, and there'll be another different groups also placing the bets. Okay, some
One
send.
sec. How do you arrange the 11.6 lakhs?
These are our own fund, like as eight of us we
Private
in.
funds.
Sorry.
Private funds. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
You're
private funds. Yeah, private funds. So we invest that extra amount of money into that business, and now there are different groups. Okay, some say had placed a bid of say 10 lakhs, some 10.5. Now the top three bids for the business get to present their B plan to the panel, which is the second round. Now, in the second round basis, and then 50% weightage is given to the presentation and 50% on the bid. Now, this composite score that is created, the team getting the highest composite score gets to run the venture for seven
and
to eight
the panel comprises of professors or somebody else?
professors.
Wow.
So now you invest that money. You have to deposit that money pehle se before you start your venture. Now you have the operations end to end. You have your own employees. You can design your for us, like we designed our own menu. We hired our own chef and then our delivery person and then the software to operate it, and then also dividing the work across the 8 or 9 team members, and then like end-to-end operations of a business essentially. And
And
then
your
at the
consumers need to be students of IIM-L specifically, or outsiders are allowed as well?
No, it's actually the campus is in the outskirts. No, so we didn't focus on the outsiders. We focused only on the students. So it is a big campus. Yeah, I think हमारे batch में there are 1100 students. Then there is faculty. Then there are staff. So there was enough demand in the campus for us to run the venture. And essentially we were not doing it full time. We were doing it as a student. तो कितना ही scale कर पाते हैं हम. But we're happy to be a part of it, and काफी अच्छा experience था हमारे लिए. Learned a lot of things. Okay, and at one point it got very challenging also कि and we used to curse ourselves at one point कि हमने क्यों
Why did you
करा.
sign up for this? Yeah,
Yeah, we invested the money also, and then we
exactly.
were struggling with it as well. All of that was there, and then when it ended, it was a sigh of relief and also like bucket full of experiences, like
It's a
lot of
fulfilling
learnings,
way.
like.
It's a fulfilling way, man, to learn about businesses. Wow.
Yeah, and businesses and more about teams and about people. Managing these, like when you start off, these eight or nine people, it's different. They're friends. Now, what happens is they become your business partners. Now,
Mm.
every financial decision that you are taking as a group impacts everybody in it, right? So, getting everybody in line in the decisions and
I
having that sort of difficult conversations to navigate through situations, and also managing external stakeholders कि आज ये हो गया, आज employee ने ऐसा कर दिया, आज employee नहीं आए, आज vendor ने ये कर दिया. All of that requires a lot of coordination amongst the team members. And I think one of the biggest takeaways was how to manage these situations with people. More about money, more than about even handling the business. Business is one aspect.
Makes sense. Makes sense. That's a very, like I mentioned, that's a very fulfilling way of learning about businesses. And that
Mm.
sums up your extracurricular, what do you call learning? Is there anything else apart from that you've done?
I think you just
That's
do a
more
lot of things, which, yeah. So, for example, in the first year itself, we had this camaraderie, which is like an intersection sports competition. Okay.
than.
So usme I am not into sports. Okay,
Yeah,
not at all. I have not stepped on the football ground ever in my school career, school life.
school
Uh,
life.
में हाँ अचानक से we made a team, and then four of us, all of us, like प्योर नर्ड्स. ठीक है, पूरी लाइफ खाली पढ़ाई करी है, कभी कुछ नहीं करा. बट वी पार्टिसिपेटेड इन इट एंड वी रीच द फाइनल्स आल्सो समहाउ.
Oh,
मतलब It was so shocking, and in our entire class, we four of us, like it was a futsal match, okay,
Acha,
and
yeah.
four of us same height, same weight, एक तरह के दिखते थे and we participated. Our entire class is like so happy and so energetic. ये लड़कियां करेगी हमारी क्लास की लड़कियां and the emotions around it, it's just completely different to experience. So और भी अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिलते हैं यार. सो देयर आर डिफरेंट इवेंट्स जो दूसरे दूसरे क्लब्स भी कराते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल फोटोग्राफी क्लब, वो भी इवेंट्स कराता है जहाँ पे दे टीच यू हाउ टू ऑपरेट अ डिजिटल कैमरा एंड लाइक प्रोफेशनली एंड एडिटिंग इमेजेस एज वेल. एंड डांस वर्कशॉप्स भी होते हैं. सो it's all upon you. There are multiple avenues जहाँ पे you have multiple opportunities to work on different areas. Sports भी of course है, sports com भी always involved रहता है. तो
Makes sense.
बहुत opportunities है.
Wow, wow, wow. It's a multi-dimensional, what do you call, avenue-based world where you get to learn from everything. Talking of
Yeah.
another avenue of learnings, how about the foreign exchange program? Could
Mm-hmm.
specifically, is there any group that you guys are a part of, IIM-L is a part of? Like, there are these certain groups, right? FEMA and all of these different things that I've heard of. Foreign exchange
Mm-hmm.
management, kuch hai na? I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
about that. So is IIM-L a part of that as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So there are student exchange programs that are there, and IIM-L has a partnership with multiple foreign institutions. And the way it happens is, so there are different clubs and committees in the campus, right? And every club has, if you are say a part of a particular club, CCA we call it, club committee or academic interest group, you are allotted. So for example, Credence had 8 members, उसमें से 2 members can go for student exchange.
Acha.
Okay. Now, these two students from the 8 will be chosen basis your academic performance.
Hmm.
Now, the top 2 people will be going for the exchange, and apart from that, the others who are not a part of all these clubs and committees, उनका भी डिक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर में. फॉर एग्जाम्पल उनके एकेडमिक स्कोर है तो उसमें जो टॉप से 30 40 50 whatever number आएगा, they will all now this creates a cohort of 100 people, and they'll bid for whichever B school like they want to go for in the summer exchange and student exchange. And then this is how the process goes. So yeah, I did not go for student exchange because I had a commitment with my student venture, which is GNB. But yeah, many of my friends did, and they had a great time. And they would say that I would not trade anything to actually go back, because 3 months of carefree living, and there are hardly any classes.
Country.
The classes once or twice a week, and then the rest of the week they are generally traveling. So they had a great time. So I would say anybody, if they get a chance, they should actually go for it.
That is something to look forward to. Definitely, a foreign exchange program is like an icing on the cake that allows you to get that
Mm.
learning, that level of exposure. Weird analogy,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's definitely, yeah.
yeah, so you were saying something definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's also about preference. So I'll tell you what happened in the starting of my term, like term 1. I was having a conversation with one of my seniors, and he told me that you should not go for summer student exchange, even if you get the chance to. And I was intrigued, ki, why would you say that? Why would you not ask a person? Because it's a good experience. And his rationale was ki, you can go and visit Europe, for example, at any point in your life. Okay, you're free to go, but the time that you get at a B school, it is very precious. The kind of uninterrupted the environment that you get here, you get to learn, you get to read, you
Learning
get your
content.
me time here,
Mm.
which you might never get at any point in time in your future.
Yeah,
So instead of spending your 3 months, 3 precious months at B school
of
at
the
going for going for exchange and visiting, you should instead invest time in yourself. So this is one way to look at it, and of course there are pros and cons to both. So there is no one right answer. It's about what fits you as a
uh,
person more.
makes sense, makes sense. And talking of your opinions as well, so how would you prove? I mean, it's not necessary to prove it, but how would you claim that IIM Lucknow happens to be the best B school in the country? Is there any way you can make that claim? Is there any?
I, I wouldn't attempt to do that, yeah. Because if I say there'll be one group of people who would say, "Nahi,
Would
aisa
agree.
to nahi
Yes,
tha."
sir. Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
about
Okay, let's
us.
talk about you specifically. Let's talk about your experience. How would you claim that, okay, I'm Lucknow is something that's really good?
Yeah, I think for me now, it helped me shape me as a person. I think if I look back at Rishika Agarwal from 2018 or 2019 versus Rishika Agarwal in 2023, they're two very evolved people, and I think I am Lucknow played a very important role in that transition, personally.
With all
And
the learning stuff.
yeah, the kind of exposure and people, and even for example, two core parts of my experience was, one was, say, the internship I got through it, a McKinsey internship, very nice experience. Then the club I was a part of, which is Credence Capital. It is a student-run investment fund. Again, very amazing. The student venture I was a part of, GNB. All of the three things I think helped me grow as a person.
Always, of course.
Yeah, and even my friends, yeah, I think my section mates and my club ke sare friends, everybody, they hold very dear. They're very dear to me, and I wouldn't have see. I think the way I see it, कि मुझे हो सकता है अगर मैं ऐसे अहमदाबाद या बी या सी कहीं भी अगर जाती तो वहां पे अपने सेट ऑफ एक्सपीरियंसेस होते for me as well. But now that I have been a part of Lucknow, I don't think I would have wanted it otherwise because I loved my time here.
Wow, wow. That's a strong thing to say that I would never want to trade with it. मुझे जो भी
Mhm.
मिल जाए, I want to trade with it. Wow, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So that pretty much sums it up, Rishika. That was a very insightful conversation. Given the fact that I'm talking to a consultant, I was bound to have all the insights at my disposal. That's really something. And all the opinions about, peer, a couple of things that you really mentioned that you shed light on is the fact that peer-to-peer learning is the reason why we pay that big amount. And
Mhm,
broker reports, of course, both of
mhm,
these things are really fascinating and something that I look forward to take back. And
mhm.
with that, we call it a day. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation and agreeing to do this. It's really, what do you call? It's really nice to look at the way you express yourself. It's really nice to look at that originality in your expression. That's something that's not, you find in common with all the corporates. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Kripal, I think very thankful to be a part of this conversation, honestly. And see, this is one thing I genuinely believe in, ki we don't meet people for no reason. And there are, in my DMs, I'll tell you, Kripal, there are many people who have reached out to me for many of such conversations. And somehow I accepted your invitation. I don't know why I did, but I'm glad that I did.
I should be the lucky one then.
Yeah, and no, so what I feel is when you are, bound to have this conversation, it tends to happen. I believe in destiny and universe at certain level.
Oh,
So again, I am very thankful, and I really enjoyed my time, and I wish you all the best for your
thank you so much.
conversation. I am glad to be a part of your journey.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah.